let's dive into this
Okay.
NYC apartment hunting thing,
Yeah.
specifically no-fee apartments.
Right.
We've got this stack of articles here all about how to find these
Right.
sort of like hidden gems in this crazy city.
Yeah.
Are you ready to become like a no-fee ninja?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's fascinating to see how much
Yeah.
the rental landscape has changed, even in just the last few years.
Really?
Yeah, there's a greater emphasis now on transparency,
Okay.
tenant empowerment, and using technology to kind of level the playing field.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not all just like,
Right.
shady backroom deals anymore.
They're getting better. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So we've got this great piece from Brick Underground,
Okay.
all about websites to use for your no-fee hunt.
Mm-hmm.
We also have some insights from Locators NYC,
Yeah.
a company that specializes in Brooklyn rentals.
Cool.
So let's unpack this stuff, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay, so first things first, let's just bust this myth.
Okay.
A lot of people think that every single apartment in New York City
Right.
comes with a broker fee.
It's a common misconception.
Yeah, and it's not true, right?
Not at all.
So how do no-fee apartments actually happen?
Well, there are a couple of ways.
Okay.
Sometimes you'll find apartments that are offered directly by the landlord
Okay.
or a management company.
So they just cut out the middleman.
Exactly. By cutting out the broker, they eliminate the fee.
Okay.
Other times, the landlord might actually cover the broker's fee as a concession.
It's a concession.
Yeah, especially in a slower rental market.
So it's like a little perk, like to entice renters.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But like, wouldn't landlords always prefer to just use brokers and like pass that cost on to the renter?
Not necessarily.
Real.
It depends.
Yeah.
You see, in a competitive market,
Yeah.
a landlord might be willing to absorb that cost to fill their vacancy faster.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
So it's not like some fixed rule.
It really depends on the market conditions
Okay.
and the landlord's individual strategy.
So it's a bit of a gamble.
You could say that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so we know they exist,
Uh,
these mythical no-fee apartments.
Right.
But how do we actually find them?
Well, that's the
Where
question.
do we even start?
Right.
One of the articles we have, it's from Brick Underground.
Okay.
They recommend like a whole bunch of websites.
They do.
Did any of those particularly stand out to you?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Out of the 12 they list.
Wow, 12.
Yeah, a few are especially noteworthy.
Okay, like what?
Well, there's CitySnap,
CitySnap, okay.
which pulls listings directly from REBNY's residential listing service.
What's that?
It's the database that most real estate agents use.
Oh, so it's like insider information?
Pretty much.
Ooh.
You're getting real-time updates, and they even have a feature
Okay.
on their app that lets you point your phone at a building.
No.
Yeah, and see the available rentals.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah,
That's like magic.
it's pretty cool.
It's like a magic apartment finding wand.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, what about for people who are maybe a little wary of those big, like, corporate landlords?
Listings Project could be a good option.
Listings Project.
They focus on ethical and inclusive housing with personally vetted listings.
Wait, what does vetted mean?
They actually check out each listing to make sure it meets their standards,
Oh, okay.
and no corporate landlords allowed.
Interesting. So if you're looking for more of a community feel,
Exactly.
Listings Project sounds like a good way to go.
It is.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Another one that caught my eye was OpenIgloo.
Oh yeah, OpenIgloo.
What makes them unique?
Well, they combine listings with tenant reviews.
Oh, that's interesting.
Imagine being able to get the inside scoop on a building
Yeah.
for people who've actually lived there.
Yeah, that's smart. Because sometimes those pictures online can be deceiving.
Totally.
You see this beautiful apartment, but then you hear horror stories.
Yeah, like about a terrible landlord
Exactly.
or constant maintenance issues.
So with this, you can get a more realistic picture.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, what if someone just wants to completely avoid the whole broker situation
Okay.
and just go straight to the source, like the management companies?
For that, Transparent City is your go-to.
Transparent City, all right.
You only list apartments from no-fee management companies.
So you can just cut to the chase.
Exactly.
Okay, that's 4 websites already.
It is.
We've got CitySnap for real-time updates.
Yep.
Listings Project for that community feel.
That-
OpenIgloo for those tenant insights. And Transparent City if you want to go straight to those management companies.
Exactly.
That's a pretty good starting point.
I think so.
But, let's be real.
Okay.
A lot of people still use Craigslist
Oh, definitely.
for apartment hunting. Any tips for navigating that crazy world?
Well, Craigslist can be a mixed bag.
Yeah,
You might score a great deal from a smaller landlord,
that's true.
but it's also a haven for scams.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So you got to be cautious.
Okay, so how do we do that?
First, make sure the listing includes the full address.
So you can actually look it up.
Yeah, so you can research the building
Okay.
and use the filters to narrow down your search.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah,
So it's like being a detective a little bit.
a little bit.
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Another resource we have is from Locators NYC,
Okay.
which is a company that specializes in Brooklyn rentals.
Right.
Their approach seems a little different.
Yeah, they emphasize using Google Maps.
Google Maps for apartments.
Yeah, to find open houses.
Oh, interesting.
You can see what's available in a specific area
I see.
and get a sense of the neighborhood.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's like a virtual scouting mission.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got all these websites to explore,
We do.
but before we get ahead of ourselves,
Sure.
let's talk about actually using these tools effectively.
Okay.
What are some strategies we can use?
Well, that's where the real work begins.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we need to talk about defining your must-haves,
Okay.
timing your search,
Okay.
researching neighborhoods,
Got it.
and understanding what it really takes to be your own advocate.
Ooh. Sounds intense.
A little bit.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
All right, so we've got our list of websites.
Yeah,
And we kind of know how to navigate Craigslist,
right.
but finding a no-fee apartment in New York,
Uh-huh.
it's not exactly like ordering a pizza, is it?
No, it's not.
There's got to be some strategy here.
Definitely.
What do you think?
I think being proactive and organized is key.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Well, the first step
Okay.
is to define your priorities.
Okay, so what's important to me?
Exactly. Like, what are your absolute must-haves in an apartment
Mhm.
versus, like, those nice-to-have features?
So is in-unit laundry a deal breaker or
Yeah, exactly.
or a dishwasher?
Those are the kinds of things you need to decide.
Okay, I see.
Once you know what you're not willing to compromise on,
Yeah.
you can use those filters on the websites we talked about
Okay.
to narrow down your options.
So you don't get distracted by those
Right.
shiny new buildings that don't actually have what you need.
Exactly.
Right, because you could end up in this fancy building with a rooftop pool,
Yeah.
but then if you're spending all your time at the laundromat down the street.
Exactly. It defeats the purpose.
Yeah, totally.
It's about finding the right fit for your lifestyle.
Makes sense.
And remember,
Uh-huh.
finding a no-fee apartment often takes a bit more
Okay.
time and effort.
Then just
Than simply hiring a broker.
so you're basically doing the work yourself.
You are taking on that role.
Okay, so it's like time versus money.
Right.
That's a good point.
It is something to consider.
Okay, speaking of time,
Yes,
Brick Underground had some interesting tips
they did.
about when to actually use these websites.
Oh, right. Yeah.
What was that about?
Well, they pointed out
Yeah.
that new listings tend to go up in the early mornings and evenings.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you're serious about snagging a no-fee apartment,
Okay.
it's worth setting aside some time during those peak posting hours.
Oh, okay. So I gotta be on it.
Be ready.
Be ready to pounce.
Exactly.
It's like anything else in the city. You gotta be fast.
Gotta be quick.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we're on the websites at the right times.
Okay.
Another thing that they mentioned was researching neighborhoods.
Yes. Very important.
So beyond just looking at the apartment itself,
Uh-huh.
how do we actually assess if a neighborhood is a good fit?
Well, think about things like commute times
Okay.
to work or school.
Okay.
Is it a bustling area with lots of nightlife?
Yeah.
Or a
Mhm.
quieter residential neighborhood?
Right.
Are there parks and restaurants and shops
Okay.
that align with your lifestyle?
That's where that Google Maps strategy comes in handy, right? From Locators NYC,
Yeah.
where you can actually virtually walk around the neighborhood.
It's like getting a sneak peek
I love that.
before you even set foot in the area.
Yeah, you can see what the vibe is.
Exactly.
Are there a lot of trees, or is it just concrete jungle?
Yeah. Do you see yourself hanging out at those cafes,
Exactly.
going to those grocery stores?
Perfect. Yeah.
It can really help.
Okay, so we've got our priorities.
Yep.
We're checking listings at the right times.
Okay.
We're virtually stalking neighborhoods.
Good.
Now, what about safety?
Yes. Very important.
Especially with Craigslist, there are always those warnings about scams.
Right. You always want to be cautious.
How do we protect ourselves?
Well,
Okay.
if a deal seems too good to be true,
Yeah.
it probably is.
Okay. That's good advice in general,
It is.
not just for apartment.
You want to verify the listing.
Okay.
Verify the person you're communicating with.
Yeah.
Look for red flags like requests for money up front
Ooh. Yeah, red flag.
or high-pressure tactics.
Yeah, that's never good.
That's when you walk away.
And this is where those tenant reviews come in handy, right?
Yeah, of course.
On OpenIgloo, you can get a sense of the building, the
For
landlord.
people who actually live there.
It's like having a neighborhood watch for your apartment service.
Exactly.
I love that.
It's a great resource.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of practical tips,
We have.
but we need to be realistic, right?
Of course.
Finding a no-fee apartment in New York City,
Yeah,
it's competitive.
it is.
So what should we expect?
It requires patience
Okay.
and persistence.
Oh,
You might have to go through a lot of listings,
okay.
attend multiple open houses,
Okay.
be prepared for some rejection along the way.
So it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
We got to pace ourselves.
Taste yourself.
Be in it for the long haul.
It's a journey. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other like mindset shifts that we should be prepared for?
Be prepared to compromise.
Okay. Compromise on what?
Well, you might not find the perfect apartment
Okay.
that checks every single box,
Right. Especially in our budget.
especially in your budget.
Yeah.
Flexibility on certain features or location
Okay.
can open up more possibilities.
So sometimes it's about finding the best fit,
Exactly.
not necessarily like the perfect one.
Right.
And maybe that compromise leads you to
Because
like a hidden gem.
a hidden gem you wouldn't have discovered otherwise.
That's a good point. I like that.
That's the beauty of the process.
Yeah.
You never know what you might find.
So keep an open mind.
Keep an open mind.
Okay.
Speaking of hidden gems,
Yeah.
golden locators. NYC mentioned something about
Oh, yeah.
uncovering those in Brooklyn.
They were talking about how their local expertise can help renters find those like off the beaten path neighborhoods.
Right, those hidden pockets.
Yeah, or buildings that maybe offer incredible value
Exactly.
or just have that unique charm.
That unique Brooklyn charm.
Yeah.
It highlights that even in a city as well-trodden as New York,
Yeah.
there are still those undiscovered areas
Yeah.
of affordability and beauty waiting to be found.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired.
Good.
We've talked about tools and strategies and mindset,
We have.
but there's one more crucial piece of the puzzle.
Oh, what's that?
Renters' rights.
Ah, yes. Very important.
This feels like a whole other world to me.
It can be.
Where do we even begin?
Well, it's about understanding the basics.
Okay, renters' rights
Yes.
in New York City.
Very important.
This feels like
It's a whole other world.
yeah, whole other world. So
Yeah.
where do we even begin?
Well, I think the most important thing is to just understand the basics.
Okay, like what?
Well, for starters,
Yeah.
you familiar with the lease agreement?
The lease agreement. Okay.
Yeah, like what are the terms?
Okay.
What are your responsibilities as a tenant?
Okay.
What are the landlord's obligations?
Right. So you know what you're getting into
Exactly.
before you sign anything.
Knowing this up front
Yeah.
can really prevent a lot of headaches later on.
It's like reading the fine print
It is.
before you sign on the dotted line.
Exactly.
Okay. What else should we be aware of?
Another big one is rent regulations.
Oh, right. Rent regulations?
New York City has rent stabilization and rent control.
Yeah, I've heard of those.
They can be a little confusing.
Yeah, I don't really know what they mean.
Basically, they apply to certain apartments
Okay.
and they can impact how much your rent can be increased.
Oh, okay. So that's important.
Very important.
So knowing if my potential apartment falls under those regulations could save me money.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's good to know.
So it's not just about finding the apartment and signing the lease.
Right, there's this whole legal framework we need to understand.
There is a legal aspect to it.
Yeah.
That's why resources like the NYC Rent Guidelines Board website
Okay.
or the NYC Housing Preservation and Development Agency
Okay.
are so helpful.
They can
They can help you understand.
break it down.
Yeah.
Make it easier to digest.
Exactly. They break down these complex topics
Okay, cool.
so you know what your rights are.
So it's like having a legal toolkit
Exactly.
to help us navigate this process.
Yeah, remember,
Yeah.
even if you are working with a broker,
Okay.
understanding your rights is still your responsibility.
Right, so I shouldn't just rely on the broker to tell me everything.
Right. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Okay.
And advocate for yourself.
Advocate for myself.
Yeah.
Got it.
Throughout the entire process.
Okay, so knowledge is power,
It really is.
especially in New York real estate.
Absolutely.
You mentioned something earlier about documentation
Oh, yes.
being really important.
Very important.
What did you mean by that?
Well, throughout your apartment hunt,
Yeah.
keep track of everything.
Okay, like what kind of stuff?
Save emails,
Okay.
take notes during phone calls,
Okay.
make copies of applications,
Okay.
any other relevant paperwork.
Okay, why is that so crucial?
Well, having a clear record of your interactions
Okay.
can be a lifesaver
How so?
if any disputes arise.
Oh, okay.
It's like having a paper trail to back up your claims.
So we're not just apartment hunters, we're also our own personal historians,
Yeah.
documenting every step of the way.
It might seem a bit tedious,
Yeah,
but trust me,
okay.
it can save you so much hassle in the long run.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
All right,
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground here.
we have.
From finding those no-fee listings
Yeah.
to understanding our rights.
The key takeaway is that
Yeah.
finding a no-fee apartment in New York,
Okay.
it's absolutely achievable.
So it's not impossible.
It's not impossible.
Okay, that's good to hear.
It requires a strategic approach,
Okay,
persistence.
got it.
And a good dose of patience.
And maybe even a little bit of that New York hustle.
A little bit of hustle never hurts.
After all, we are uncovering hidden gems.
We are?
In one of the most exciting cities in the world.
Absolutely.
It's a journey,
It is.
not just a destination.
Well said.
And as our listeners embark on this journey,
Yeah.
here's a final thought to ponder.
Right.
With all this information now so readily available online,
Right.
how might this shift in access to knowledge
Uh-huh.
change the dynamics between renters and landlords in the future?
That is a fascinating question.
Yeah, it's something to think about.
It is.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive,
My pleasure.
and happy apartment hunting, everyone.
Good luck.